Welcome back to our Pillars of Resilience exploration. I'm sharing with you extracts from Valorie Burton's book on the rules of resilience to help you practically evaluate your protective resources. And I will add some of my own examples. As a reminder, what is resilience? Well, it's the ability to get back on your feet and not give up or be completely broken when things are tough. While the first pillar was the adaptive resources, our second pillar is protective resources. Protective resources, as we mentioned last time, they tend to be more tangible and visible than adaptive skills. Typically, you can point to, you can name, and you can see these resources, and they include positive, supportive relationships, physical security, access to services. Why do we call them protective resources? Well, because they can shield you from the damaging effects of the stressors. Basically, when we talk about resilience, resources refer to anything tangible, anything that we can see, touch, that protects you from the negative impacts of adversity, as well as anything that makes it easier to navigate challenges. Okay, let's start with one of the rules of resilience, which says rally your resources, or another way to say it, bring together your resources. It is important to cultivate your resources and your relationships before you need them, so you can tap into them to get unstuck. In real life, we all hate it when someone comes to us only when they face a problem or they have a need. Or maybe you have been to that place like me where something is broken or something breaks and doesn't work just when we have no savings and no plan for it in our budget. This is not a good place to be, right? And so this rule reminds us that the best time to cultivate resources is before we need them. Well, why? Because personal resources make resilience easier. So access the right resources and build the right ones. Personal resources, what we really have, not what we think we have, what we think we should have, but what we really have. Personal resources make resilience or bouncing back when there is something challenging easier. So make sure you have access to or you access the right resources and that you build the right resources. We mentioned last time that strong relationships are the most important protective resources. Yes, strong relationships are foundation to resilience. So build strong relationships, even if you have to do it from scratch. And then be willing to ask for help. There is no such thing as self-made man, self-made woman, lone ranger. I don't need anybody. I like my life without people. I don't really like people. We all need strong relationships. And God created us to live in community with Him, but also community with one another. And so do build strong relationships. Okay, as we go through the protective resources one by one, I would like you to keep these questions in mind. Okay, so what are you willing to do? Not what must you do? What do you think you have to do? What do you think I want you to do? What do you think your parents want you to do? What are you willing to do? To create your resources. If you do not have any resources in that area, or if you do not have much in that area, what are you willing to do to maintain your resources? If you do have resources in that area, how can you maintain those resources? And finally, not just maintain, what are you going to do to cultivate, to develop, to grow the resources you have been entrusted with in that specific area? Okay? So, first, identify your resources. When we talk about one specific resource, think about, do I have anything. What do I have in this area as far as resources are concerned? Then know what you're willing to do in that regard. Okay. And if you'd like to put in place a system to be consistent in maintaining or cultivating that resource, what would a simple system look like? Let me give you an example to make it easier for you to follow. In my case, health is a precious protective resource I would like to maintain. I'm grateful I'm healthy, generally, and I would like to maintain and cultivate my health. As a result, the simple system I put in place in my life is my daily routine that includes movement, that includes healthy food, that includes water, and that includes sleep. There's nothing fancy about this, right? I just do not compromise with those simple things, and so I put them into autopilot mode. So simple things such as sleepover, it's a no. I need a good night of sleep. I'm not even considering it. My watch helps me track my movements throughout the day, so I know if I need to move more or if I'm good for the day. I fill up my two bottles. I have two bottles that I fill up in the morning, and I know that I have to finish them by the end of the day, so I know I have drunk enough water. When I buy things, I fill my fridge and my pantry with healthy food, with raw fruits and vegetables. So when I need to cook, I just have options that are healthy. So I put myself in a position where I have to make healthy choices. So this is a simple system that I can put to be into place to be consistent. Okay, let's dive into the first one, supportive relationships, meaningful personal connections. Now, your personal relationships include family and friends, of course, but you also gain a sense of community from neighbors, from your church, and from other organizations, scouts, um, or volunteering place or Christian places that you belong to. Now, close relationships give you a sense of safety and belonging that builds confidence. The emotional and often the physical support they offer also make it more likely that you will recover from hardship due to the support that you have. So those closest to you are the first place to go for support, whether dealing with bad news or celebrating good news. And here it is very important to know that if you cannot go to those closest to you for support, whether you deal with bad news or you celebrate good news, then there is a problem. You have the wrong close people. And we go back to what we were saying. In fact, supportive personal relationships are the single greatest predictor of resilience. People who have supportive personal relationships are more resilient than people who do not have any. So, build and nurture your relationships intentionally. Another kind of relationship, another kind of supportive relationships, um, wise counsel and coaching. Make sure that among your personal relationships, you have insightful people in your circle who share your values, who listen well, and who can be a sounding board. Whether it is a friend, and then the two of you serve in this role for each other. Okay, so you be the wise person in your friend's life, and your friend is the wise person in your life. Or sometimes you can hire a coach, an advisor, a trainer, and intentionally build relationships with people who have expertise, wisdom, good judgment, and your best interests at heart. Over time, I did hire people, coaches or counselors, to work with me in specific areas of my life where I needed expertise, where I needed wisdom, and I needed good judgment. I needed to grow. I needed more than my friends who would say just nice things or crazy things or who just want to have fun. Sometimes I go through things in life where I need specific people who know the business, who have the expertise, not just the blah blah. And so this is a good investment. Investing in supportive relationships, hiring the right people who can intentionally build you up and who have your best interests at heart. Now think of those people as your personal advisory board because of their wisdom, because of their care, because of their consistency. Their perspective can be so valuable as you navigate challenges and as you choose your next steps. Now, this was the first one, the meaningful personal connections. But it doesn't end there. You also need meaningful professional connections. Significant professional relationships help you build career and financial resilience. Now, you know those former colleagues, your current coworkers, the customers, the parents of the students, or mentors, your bosses, your leaders. These are connections that you need in your life. They give you meaning, they give you perspective, but they can also help you learn and grow. They can help you discover opportunities and bounce back from setbacks better when you are connected. And so, again, it is important to foster, to build, to cultivate these connections. How do you do that? Through goodwill, wishing the best and doing the best for others, through a strong work ethic, doing your best at work, working well with character, and reciprocal assistance. I always say that a relationship goes both ways. If you are always on the receiving end of a relationship, there is a problem. Make sure you are as much as a giver as you are a receiver. So help one another, make it a reciprocal assistance. These strengthen your resilience and they give you leverage when you navigate challenges. Now, on a personal note, the hardest thing I had to navigate was probably the death of my father a few years ago. I'm so grateful for the supportive relationships in my life. My extended family was there to support us, and they took on many financial burdens by paying for different things. They wanted to be part of it. They contributed toward the caskets, toward the car that would drive us and to drive the body to the cemetery, the food to feed the many people, and we came to present the condolences and the food when we came back, um, just as a small circle. Friends and staff from both Tatshaven and Dust and Soul came to help us practically with all the moving things, cleaning, setting up, ushering people, managing paperwork, and friends bringing cooked meals afterwards, helping us babysit in many ways, but also with words, with thoughts, with prayers. My sister and my mom's church communities were amazing. They helped practically with cleaning the dishes, cooking for the many, and I said many people, serving and cleaning the house, looking after the house while we went away for the burial. And so we would not think about that. And when I look back, I know that supportive relationships are important. And I know that these relationships don't grow overnight. It's an investment that we make daily, one relationship at a time. The second point, financial and work resources. When you begin to see your finances, not just in terms of what you would like to buy or what you would like, where you would like to travel, finances are more than that, okay? When you see your finances as a resource that helps you navigate uncertainty with ease and face challenges with more stability, then it shifts the way you manage your money. Your employment, your current job, provides a financial resource beyond your salary. And the financially impactful benefits may come with food offered at work, with health benefits for those who might have the long-term workers having a health insurance here. Paid vacation, you still get a salary even if it's the winter vacation or Christmas vacation. While people would have 10 days of vacation a year, you get months of vacation a year. Trainings and other opportunities to increase your skills and your earning power. So it is important to be aware of that. And we now live in a season where we can build financial and work resources even from home, remotely, and globally, not limited to Antananarivo. There is so much we can do globally as well. So with creativity, it is possible to grow our financial resources in many ways. We even now talk about passive income. So personally, service has been a work resource I have developed over the years, and I believe that it is not rewarding, not just not because God will reward me in time, which I believe, but it's also rewarding because in the here and the now, I can enjoy more fulfilling life by serving others, without ulterior motives. I can grow in many ways. I can meet people I would not otherwise have met. I can be part of something bigger than myself and bigger than just making rich people richer or providing selling things. Okay. Now, as you notice, for each topic, I put questions here. You can pose and answer the question in pairs, or you can move to the next topic, depending on if you want to combine it into the big question at the end and then think about the different areas, or if you want to pause. So I give that, I trust your wisdom on that. But here, questions that you can reflect on. What are the financial resources you can count on now? And we are at different stages, so be very sensitive as you share with your neighbors. You might have an emergency plan, an emergency fund. You might have savings. You might even have a retreat fund. You might have an inheritance. You might, I don't know. But it's important for you personally to know what are the financial resources you can count on and which ones do you want to develop. Education and training. Now, it's a powerful resource to have the training or the expertise to land certain jobs, to get certain jobs, to operate certain businesses, or even to understand how to do certain tasks that might be needed to overcome a challenge. You face a flat tire, my friend, you do want to know how to change a tire, right? So education can be formal, but it can also be informal. We now have many online classes. Many of them are free. And learning from someone who knows or through books can help you navigate challenges and adversity. And so I hope you are making best use of those resources available freely and available in abundance around you. I believe that education and trainings are important and I cultivate them regularly. At work, for example, we can think of ways to do things better and we can find an informal training easily available to help us do that. Let's talk about the progress report on Excel. Those IT skills, how do we use Excel? We can learn that in short videos. And this yet would make it smoother to record data, to make sense of those data, to export data, to reduce the time spent on ticking, gluing, printing workbooks. Yes. So as you think about education and training, when you think about the vision or the challenge in front of you at work or in your personal life, what training or what education do you have that can help you? And is there anything you're lacking? If yes, how might you obtain it? Experience. We've all heard that experience is the best teacher, and when you are intentional about learning lessons, it's a powerful protective resource. Once you gain experience, you know what to expect in certain situations, so you can prepare well. The experience from having the first child equips a mom, should equip a mom to have her second child and to do things differently, to do things better. And you're often less anxious because you've been there and you may have insight that enable you to be more effective in a crisis or a challenge. Experience also enables you to seize future opportunities. The fact that you have experiences in certain areas or that you've done specific things can open more doors for you. Now, service, volunteering, or helping someone or an organization are amazing ways to build experiences. While being part of something structured, you get to learn, you get to experiment, you get to grow. Okay. So, reflection question: what key experiences helped you know what to expect in certain situations so you can prepare well? Environment is also an important point. Being in the right place around the right people can help you navigate challenges. And so, an important question: how well does your environment support your vision and the challenges you face? Being in the right place, you can create, there is the bigger right place, the workplace or um, the organization or the church you're part of. But there is also the physical space you're in. My physical space is filled with greens, just as the school, because nature is important. And nature, there is a whole study on how the natural environment brings joy, peace, calms you down, makes it better to work in. Therefore, that's our garden. But also being around the right people, having an environment, a growth environment, is important. So if you are in a detrimental, if you are in a toxic environment that forces you to deal with negativity all the time or manipulation, then it will be harder for you to navigate challenges. While the opposite, if you are in a growth environment, a positive environment that um, positively helps you to grow, forces you to grow, then it will be easier for you to navigate challenges. So just be intentional, okay? Whether it is in your professional setting, at home, or even where you locate yourself geographically, be intentionally about setting yourself up for success and resilience. Health. If anything can stop everything in your life in a heartbeat, it's a health crisis. So, good health is a protective resource. So, assess your health and then explore ways to maintain or improve your health. Then, take your health plan seriously. Recognize that strong health is a priceless treasure. If you have health complications, consider not only how you might rally your resources to lessen those difficulties, but also how you might give yourself grace and adjust expectations so that you don't make the journey harder than it has to be. This is a process. When you lose your health, this is not just a physical challenge, but it's an emotional challenge as well. And so just make sure that you adjust your expectations of yourself in the light of your current health. Now, question for you: how is your health? If your health is good, how can you maintain it? If your health is not that good, or is bad, or is getting worse, how can you improve it? And then finally, access to resources and information. This is important and this is considered a protective resource because it provides people with the means to effectively cope with stress, to overcome adversity, and to promote overall well being and resilience. Listen, having access to running water and solar power when there are shortages all around is a privilege and it's an important resource. I think you know that. Seeing the difference between having to go fetch water every morning and just turning on the tap and having water. Or when facing shortages, having solar power is a very different feeling and a very different stress removed from your life. Same, being able to find information on the internet in few seconds is a resource that makes a difference. Not knowing is a problem when you're not able to access some information or you have to go in a library and open a book when there is no library. It's quite hard. Knowing people in services, people to ask for help or to ask for advice, is an important resource. Now, living in the capital city and having access to services of all kinds, to headquarters of offices, does give you an edge as far as resources are concerned as well. Imagine being sick here in Tana is not going to be the same, and it's not going to have the same impact as being sick in the forest at Andesby, for example. So this access to information and resources, this is an important resource. So all of this brings me to the questions I asked at the beginning, which you hopefully also took the time to think about for each resource. What are you willing to do to create your resources if you don't have any or not enough? What are you willing to do to maintain your resources if you have any, if you're blessed with? What are you going to do to cultivate and grow and develop your resources? And this is going to be both a very, very personal reflection, but there are many general things that you can share with each other to inspire each other to action and for accountability. I'd like to end by saying that on this Thanksgiving season, it's November, end of November-ish. How will you first show gratitude to God for the many ways He provided protective resources for you? And how will you show your appreciation to those people who are part of your support system? We easily take people for granted until they're removed from our lives in a way or another. So be intentional to build strong relationships. As we end, let's read this together. I don't go it alone. I welcome and cultivate a strong support system. And say it like you mean it, right? Okay, well, thank you for your time. I hope that this has blessed you. I cannot wait to see you for our final pillar and our final part of our training on resilience. Take care.